What's up guys, it's me Deshaun, and today we'll be reviewing Marchen, a classic shonen manga that has been forgotten by most but not by many. This, like other timeless classics that few are still attached to like Zatch Bell and Bobobo, hold endless nostalgia and still stand the test of time because people love these series that much, and they love them for good reason. Now the question here is, Mar still as entertaining as it was back then as it is now? Mar starts off with our main character Ginta constantly having dreams of this magical world known as Marchen. He would tell everyone around him about this world, telling them that it is real, but nobody seems to believe him except for his best friend Koyuki. But one day, this all changes when a mysterious door appears in his classroom and takes him into this new world. And this time, it is no mere dream. Marchen is real. A world filled with talking rocks, mysterious magic weapons known as arms, and plenty of mystical creatures. And for the most part, everything in this manga is phenomenal because it wears this identity so well. It's like the quirky, cartoonish nature of Dragon Quest and the powerful magic of Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts were combined with a punk rock album, doing what Fairy Tail did as a manga before Fairy Tail was even conceived when it comes to the fantasy meets punk rock. The aesthetic might seem wonky at first until you get the bigger picture, and when you do, it truly hits different. The mangaka would even take inspirations from other fairy tales like Jack and the Beanstalk, with our main character Jack who wants to grow a beanstalk. The witch named Dorothy who ends up having to kill another witch, similar to Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. And you'll see minor things like Pinocchio or even Rapunzel. Sometimes these inclusions can add another layer to the story, and other times they can unfortunately feel like a missed opportunity. And we'll be talking about those later. But speaking of missed opportunities, with the series being named after the location of the story, Marchen, you'd think the world building would at least play some type of role in the series, but unfortunately you do not get to see very much of the world outside of the first few chapters, and it is a very disappointing and missed opportunity because these characters talk so much about Marchen, but this manga is literally just a giant tournament arc for the most part. The characters will constantly be like, I love Marchen, we need to protect it. But as a reader, it's really hard to connect with these characters loving Marchen because we never really get to see Marchen. But on the other hand, it is one of the best tournament mangas I have ever seen in my life. Fights after fights after fights, and the pacing does not let up. When it gets going, it is probably one of the most fun mangas you can read. If you take it for what it is at face value, it is an amazing manga, but I can't help but wonder how much better this manga would be if things were fleshed out a lot more than they were. But outside of that, compared to the Dark Tournament from Yu Yu Hakusho, and you guys know how much I love Yoshiro Togashi, and in comparison to the Shaman fight from Shaman King, the Chunin exams from Naruto, I am not gonna lie, the war games from Mar needs to be talked about, and I need to see it animated as soon as possible. I can't stress enough just how much fun it was going through every single fight and seeing the abilities of the new villains. What arm are they gonna use? What personality or design are they going to have? It really just keeps you turning the pages. This manga can be very goofy at times, but when it gets serious and dark, it hits so different. People will die in this series and they do not come back to life. And it makes you feel sorry for the villains. I would love to show you scenes to put you on, but it's best that you just go out there and read it for yourself. Because some of these moments, they just don't deserve to be spoiled. The only bad thing I can really say about the fights would be sometimes they can be pretty formulaic. Arm use after arm use. He's gonna show another arm, and then by the end of the fight, he's gonna pull out his giant arm or ability, and he summons something. The main characters summons, fight each other, they fight the villain summon, and the fight's over. But outside of that generic formula, I still enjoyed every single second. It was dead ass like a fight from Final Fantasy. The characters are scrapping and then they'll pull out a summon like Bahamut or Ifrit, and seeing these creatures on the screen just scratched that Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon itch of seeing what monsters were they going to make fight each other on the battlefield. It genuinely felt like a love letter to Yu-Gi-Oh and Final Fantasy. It's just like when you're watching something like Bakugan and you see Drago fight some other colossal creature that made you relive these same battles from your childhood that you were hyped for. And I can say for the most part, no other shonen is doing that and still maintaining mature themes and stakes. And a big thing that I feel like is very annoying with this series is that it feels like they abuse the hell out of the hyperbolic time chamber. As a writer, if you're going to make your characters weak and constantly have them fight stronger foes, it would be far more entertaining to see how these weaker characters would beat these stronger foes in creative ways outside of them training in between every single fight in the tournament. It makes it unbelievable because at one point, think of it like this: round one of the tournament, main characters fight. They're like, oh my god, these guys are so strong. Well, these guys that you're gonna fight in round two of the tournament are so much more broken. We're gonna have to train again. And magically, they're on the same level as these brand new villains that are supposed to be strong as hell. It can really take you out of it. It felt like lazy writing in generic shonen schlop. Imagine this: main character fights generic villain, right? Barely wins because he's at the same level as this generic villain. Okay, in between this fight in the tournament and the next fight in the tournament, we're going to train in the hyperbolic time chamber for a year, and now you can take on the final boss. I just really can't stress how garbage and pace breaking and immersion breaking that is, because I promise you, if you ever wanted Goku or Vegeta to abuse the hyperbolic time chamber, man, do you get it in this manga. It should genuinely be a meme. As for the characters, they're very likable, but again, they're not fleshed out enough, and the author clearly had love for other characters more than others. When it comes to Ginta, as a main character, I can't really connect with him outside of his design. He kind of feels very faceless, but he does have really cool moments and funny ones as well that just make you like him. It's just hard because I definitely put him on the lower end of shonen pro tags. He's not bad, but you're not going to get a Yusuke, Goku, or even a Suna or Yo out of Ginta at all. Honestly, if you said Ginta was your favorite main character out of shonen, I would think you're a weirdo. But if he's ever in a J-Stars or Jump Force game, I'm playing as him, I'm not gonna lie. As for the villains, Phantom is one of the coolest villains I have ever seen. When it comes to the villains, Mar does not miss. One of the coolest aspects of the series would be that the main character's weapon was originally the main villain's weapon. Babbo would have been the weapon that the main villain used to slaughter every single hero from the cross guard during the previous war games. The amount of depth that Babbo has would be one of the major selling points for me, because when you read the series at the very end and find out who and what Babbo really is, your jaw is genuinely going to drop. Even the creativity behind it. Babbo is a kendama. And I find that so interesting, but unfortunately the main character does not take full advantage of this. It feels like the author wasn't confident enough to go all the way with Babbo as a kendama as a weapon, so he gives Babbo multiple different forms. From turning into a giant boxing glove, a sword, a gun, and even a waifu. That one was pretty strange, but we'll let it rock. But to get back on the topic on how great the villains are, they're just so good at being dislikable. A puny underling would talk about how killing women is his specialty, and you will genuinely hate him. The villains will sit there and kill their own teammates. And my boy Ian goes crazy. From the very first moment he shows up in the series, His entire character art slapped. A low-rank villain that feels like he's stealing the spot of the rival character. But not only this, he is a good guy that experiences a tragedy that Ginta caused and swears to kill him. Easily one of the best characters, but my favorite out of all the villains would be Peta. After he was looking down the realm of Mar Heaven and he gave that speech, what could have less savor than the fruits of dull tranquility? Mar Heaven now is a fruit that rots, ripened with too much pampering, left too long on the limb, fed to those who lack the teeth to bite. How happy are those who can feel content with such soft, bland, sickly sweet pap? But not us. We can never surrender to this prison of peace and tranquility, gorging on the tasteless fruit that drops at our feet. Life without teeth, without struggle. History shows that only through fighting, through taking, can beings evolve. That life chooses clearly between the victors and the vanquished. Who are the victors? Those who are willing to take power, to blaze trails, to risk pain and inflict it. They're the ones who turn the course of history. They're the ones who rule the vanquished and give them a world without the tedium of peace. We are the victors. The chess pieces! And then you see Phantom look down at all of the destruction, saying that it is beautiful. Moments like these make me feel like I'm not giving these characters enough credit. I really just wished that they were fleshed out more. Alvis, practically the Sasuke or the Hiei of the series, was not afraid to catch bodies. Maybe he'd spare a few to make Ginta happy, but seeing him catch that occasional body or use a cursed arm really complimented the lighthearted nature that Ginta would have gave us. It's like you get to see a darker side when it comes to the good guys. Dorothy would also have this dark side to her because she would catch bodies as well, outside of all of the cute and funny expressions she'd make throughout the series. When she would lock in, it would really subvert your expectations and made her character all the more interesting. And Alan, the mentor character, his design by itself is just so powerful. Like, when I saw him grab one of the villains and mercilessly threw him in a volcano, oh, the characters in this manga are so good. And the flexes and style. What I mean by this, moments that are just epic and stylish. Like when Dorothy is fighting Pinocchio and every time he lies, his nose gets longer and longer and begins to turn into a gun. And then Pinocchio's summon being the same whale from the story. Cool ideas like this that take inspiration from other fairy tales. And I just wish they did more. This entire manga was just such an amazing ride, and I just wish it was longer and more fleshed out. Like, Ginta comes from the regular world, but we never get to see what his mom and Koyuki are doing in the regular world while he's stuck in the fantasy world. Not once do we see Ginta's mom look for Ginta or actually be depressed over Ginta being sucked into this fantasy world. Even then, I would have really appreciated some backstory on the previous war games where Ginta's father fought. Like, what was evil Babo like? I guess it doesn't necessarily matter, but at face value, this manga is one of the most fun reads that you can have. Pacing that I'd compare to Black Clover and Chainsaw Man. If you like those modern shonen, you would eat Mar up. This series right here needs an anime to breathe new life in it, because I went back and watched the anime, the old one, and it does not hold up whatsoever. Mar needs a new anime. And with all the fights that take place in this series, the amount of improv and add-ons that we could get to the fights, an anime adaptation would be so perfect. Now, despite Mar's issues, this is 100% worth the read. I cannot stress that enough. It could easily be on the same tier of Magi, Fairy Tail, and all these other magic mangas. It is a fast and fun burn, and that might be a shortcoming for the series, but at the same time, it could also be its greatest strength because it does not hurt to read it. It is not that big of a commitment, and you will come out with an entertaining manga experience that will stick with you. Is it the best series? No. But is it a great series, especially in comparison to all these new shonens? 100% yes. Now, with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this manga review. If you have any manga recommendations for me to read, type them down in the comment section below and I'll definitely check them out and it might be the next video. If you make manga and would like for me to review it, DM me and we can talk business. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I love you guys and y'all take it easy.